Hello and welcome. My name is Campbell and this is Autodidactic Channel. And as always guys, autodidactic means to be self-educated. And in these times we need to be self-educated because the story they're telling us about our past is provably wrong. So today I wanted to revisit America. In the 1600s, this is all drawings done basically by the artists that were traveling with the conquistadors when they were conquering South America. And so yeah, we have some very interesting pictures to have a look at. And as you can see in this one here, got a nice castle in the background and all the Spanish galleons here that have just found this. They didn't build them. All right, let's get into this. So to start with, I just had a look at, I was looking at the name of this place, Truxillo. Now there is actually a place that I found in Virginia that's called Truxillo, and it said it was an unincorporated, unincorporated area, which I found. I don't know if anyone knows anything about Truxillo in Virginia, but a bit more searching, and because obviously Virginia's not on the coast. This is actually, it's now Trujillo, that's a J, and this is a coastal town in Peru, I believe, in South America. So we'll just have a quick look. So Trujillo, Peru, Spanish named it, by the looks of it, is a city in coastal northwestern Peru and the capital of the department of La Libertad. It is the third most populous city and center of the third most populous metropolitan area of Peru. It is located on the banks of the Mochi River, near its mouth at the Pacific Ocean in the Mochi Valley. This was a site of the great prehistoric Mochi and Chimu cultures before the Inca conquest and subsequent expansion. Prehistoric is an interesting word. It always makes you think of something that's very old, but all it means is we have nothing written about it. No history before they wrote the history down. So this is it. Yeah, it's basically, it's still down here on the side of Peru, and you can see, whoops, look at the buildings. Here we go, look at this, in Trujillo. Tartarian buildings everywhere, old world, domes. Now, that there seems to be, in the Americas, because there seems to be two different like societies, like Tartarians and Moors, at least two, and this stuff looks just sort of more Moorish than Tartarian. There's a bit of a difference in the architecture if you look at it. The Moorish seems to be a bit more stylized. They don't tend to have the massive columns, and they are more stylized when they have them. And just a few other bits and pieces. But yeah, great architecture though. It's still definitely from the same kind of old world civilization. And up here we've got this massive, thing. I don't know what that is. Big statue on top of lots of other statues. So this is an old world place, an old world city that they discovered. The city centre contains examples of colonial and religious architecture, often incorporating distinctive wrought ironwork. It includes residential areas, a business district, etc. And if we come down, do they have any history? The history of Trujillo has its beginnings in ancient times. Mochi civilization. So they're saying that the civilization has been there for a while. They're just saying it's all prehistoric and they never did anything, even though we have this big underground tomb thing. Look at that. These look like tiles. So this is what, this is the stuff that the Spanish walked into, not what we're told. Spanish area, It just says it was one of the first cities in the Americas to be founded. Trujillo was one of the first cities in the Americas founded. That should be found by the Spanish conquistadors. Conquistadors, conquerors, man. They just went there to rob and steal. They arrived in the area that had been inhabited and developed, nice, for thousands of years by the indigenous peoples, according to historian Napoleon Chisaberger. The conquistador Diego de Almagro founded the first settlement in November 1534, calling it Trujillo of New Castile, after Trujillo, the home city of Francisco Pizarro, who was he was also one of the conquistadors. So there you go. They're just saying no, we founded it. It was ours. They're saying there's all this civilization and that, but yeah, nothing there, nothing to see here. November 23rd, 1537, King Charles I of Spain gave the town the rank of city. 3 years after it was founded, right, in 1534, it was suddenly a city. Interesting. And the coat of arms that remains a symbol for the city. So yeah, they put their own coat of arms on it. It was the first city in Peru to receive a coat of arms from the king. How lucky. By 1544, Trujillo had around 300 homes and 1,000 inhabitants, and an economy booming from the cultivation of sugarcane, wheat, and other food crops, and the raising of livestock. So they've just moved in and completely taken over this old world city, called it their own, founded it themselves, and yeah, these are the inhabitants today. So their whole history has been just stolen from them. And it's still all around them. Like all of us, our history is all around us. And I just wanted to show you the star fort as well. This would be it. So here we go. Look at this. See this big wall here coming down? Okay, in here we have this big wall here. And see there's a fort up the top as well. It's sort of another big, looks like that's probably a citadel maybe, and this is Star City. Let's get rid of that. So you can see this. Now that looks more Tartarian, a very sort of European castle-like walls. Obviously there's walls around these, look like they've probably been built later. But very nice old stuff. They've chucked a few cannons in there to try and tell you it was a fort made for war, which it wasn't. And there we go, there's that wall that's going down that we can see right there. So that's it, guys. This is an accurate drawing. They all are. These books were drawn by artists who went to South America. Basically, the King of Spain sent them there and said, bring me back all the information that you've got. Now, do you really think that they would take back to the king false information and false pictures? Of course not. They would lose their heads. So this is all done accurately because the Spanish wanted to come back and take the whole lot, which they did. So they wanted to know who was there, what was the best way to come in and conquer. Everything had to be accurate. And there it is, there's the wall. That gateway again, more, cannons. God, just thrown around. Yeah, they look, like they, here's some of the other walls. There's those cannons again. That's ridiculous, isn't it? Wow. There was a video done by, I'll remember the name in a minute, but he was talking about cannons and how the original cannons were made of brass, and it basically, if you tried to fire a cannonball out of them, they would blow up, they'd just rip apart. And so he was questioning what are cannons? Are they actually what we're told they are? And just looking at this, who knows? And sorry, the channel was Global Vision, and the video I think is called Cannons, How Do They Work, or something like that. If you just put in Global Vision cannons, you'll find it. Pretty interesting. Just lying in the ground there. So this is, there you go, this is the fort that the Spanish saw. So this is the colour version of what they came across. And there it is, still standing today. And this is where the natives would have been looking out at the boats going, oh crap. I just thought, yeah, Rich, there you go. So look at that. That's beautiful. Okay, so here we go. Look at this. Big wall coming up here. Fort on the top. Fort on the top, and you can see the wall going down there and the line of buildings. And even in here, we can see there's a building here. We've got some towers across here. Two things at the top. We can see the top of one of them, the domes, and there's two towers and the two in the background. So we had 4. 1, 2, 3. Well, maybe there's a new one, but there's at least 3, and then there's something here. So there you go. That's an accurate picture, guys. So if anyone's wondering if this is a real book, if it's true, if it's accurate, there you go. Old Spanish, old fort, Spanish, of course, in Trujillo. And here we have Trujillo. So there you go. I thought I would just show that. And we'll see how we go. I might do it with a few other ones, but it's just to show this is accurate stuff. And you can, all these old pictures, you can go and have a look at them today, and most of it's still all there. So let's have a look at what is next. This is a map, obviously. So the different maps are as they're going sort of around in different regions. This looks like it's probably Peru kind of area. That's like Central America. And as we come in, can we see them in here? Can't get in too far, but you can see down here there's like a city, like a big dome building drawn there. Have a few more here. So on these maps, you'll find that there are actually cities that they've found, and they draw on them. Like, what's this? Is that a big one? Unfortunately, it's as far as I can get in, but it's just a map. But there's definitely a lot of. This picture is really cool. This is Cartagena. Now, this looks like it's been completely flooded, because look at this. This is just like, it's in the water. It's surrounded by water. Looks like the Spanish have taken over it, and they've like tied their flag onto the antenna, the Antiquitech antenna, but it's just sitting in the water, and we can see bits of a wall here, bit of land, and then in the background it's just completely built out. We've got a bit of a broken wall here, and did it come up here? I think it comes up the back here. But again, look, 3-story building, massive step. We've got these steeples everywhere. Look at them all. Big 3-story, 4-story buildings, cathedrals, totally built out. And this is what they, founded, as they tell us. And here we have it, Cartagena in Colombia. A major port founded in 1533, located on the north coast of Colombia. Okay, and just again, obviously the Spanish have come in and rebranded it, but look at these buildings. Look at that. And again, this is more of the Moorish style rather than the Tartarian. It's a lot that we sort of, there's a lot of it in Spain, but it's also what we get told is sort of Islamic type architecture. And look at look at these. And look at that building. It's huge. And of course, they've just built it out because it's on the ocean or whatever. But there you go, full of old world buildings. And if we come down here, basically it says found in the Caribbean, estimated around 4000 BC. There was a formative culture. So they're saying that that's been inhabited for thousands of years now. The story of South America is changing a lot in the last sort of 10 years or so. They're actually, because the archaeologists basically refused to say that anyone was in South America sort of pre 5,000 years ago or so. But they just, obviously more and more discoveries just getting pushed back and back and back. So under the contract of Queen Joanna of Castile and Pedro de Heredia entered the Bay of Cartagena with 3 ships. In 1533, he soon found the village of Calamari abandoned. Nice. Proceeding onwards to tobacco. Oh, really? To tobacco? These are these words. That's where we get our words from. Where Juan de la Cosa had been mortally wounded 13 years earlier, Heredia fought an all-day battle before claiming victory. Now, they just said it was abandoned. Using India Catalina as a guide, Heredia embarked on a 3-month exploration expedition. He returned to Calamari in April 1533 with gold pieces. There you go, just there to rape and pillage and steal. So this is a map, an old map, and you can see clearly there's a city there that they found. You know, clearly. This is the fort that apparently, you know, the Spanish just rocked up and built with all their stonemasons and just like the other, you know, 100 or so they built in America in 100 years. And yeah, look at these buildings. They're just, there you go, look at that one. That's interesting. So this is all Central America. Look at that one. Wow. And they'll tell us that the Spanish built this as well as all the other buildings, as well as the Star Fort. You know, it's just, it's ridiculous. This is no doubt one of the villains. And here's another one. So there we go. That's these guys. The Bourbon dynasty in Spain and Juan Diaz. A few more of the people who came and conquered. There's some of the natives. So Cartagena. This is it. I mean, look at this place. Oh, come on. Look at this. Look at that. And across there too. Like, this is completely built out. They would have found this completely built. Look at that. I mean, and look, it's still got all its domes and its spires. Look at them all. See them? There. I'll look for a better picture, but this is it. This is Cartagena. So we've got these spires everywhere. Look at them. I wonder if that's the one that we can see. It's very similar shape. Wow, there you go. So this is it. This is that wall. Sorry, look at that wall. There you go. That's the old fort wall. There's a bit of it there, and there's a bit of it here as well. Obviously, it's a bit hard to see what's going on in the background there. But there it is, guys. Okay, these are real accurate pictures. Now I'll just put, how do we do? Go back. Let's go fort. And here it is. And they're trying to tell us the Spanish built this. Look at the amount of rock in that. Look, I'd say that's a Star Fort just with the angles coming off it. I mean, look at the size of that thing. That's huge. Wow. Oh my gosh, that is really big. So, got all this wall. So this, I'm not sure where the fort is. There's a bit of a wall here and here. Yeah, there's no walls around that. So I'm not really sure the fort might be over here more. I'm not really sure, but it's definitely there. All the remains of it. And it's a big one. Look at that. Oh, look at the amount of rock that's gone into, I mean, just into this wall here at the front. Forget about all the other walls in this massive citadel at the top and these surrounding walls. And we're told that this was built by the Spanish in the 1600's, guys, when there was hardly anyone there. They had to bring everything by ship. They had no tools. They had no roads. You know, they didn't know where anything was. So as far as quarries and that, they had to find them first, then create them, and then they had to have the tools. It just doesn't make sense, guys. Doesn't make sense. Look at that thing. So this is, you know, this is what the Spanish was stumbling into old world buildings. And of course they just said, you know, they just took it all. We founded this, we found it, we founded it, and they just took it and took it over, and you've seen the result. They've been slowly destroying this, these traces of this civilization for 500 years now. All right, let's get back to some pictures. Hey. So there you go. That's awesome. Oh, we didn't see this bit. Hang on, I'm just going to go back quick. I just want to see if that's there. Canals. Here we go. Look at that. What's this? Show me. Oh, come on. When that's in the water, is that it? And look at that. That's solid brick too. Solid, whatever it is, brick, stone. Doesn't really tell me what it is, but that's definitely out in the water, right? Like this. Doesn't look so towery. So I'm just doing this on the fly, guys. Yeah, I'll have to look into this a bit more. And here's an aerial shot of the fort. Look at that one. What? Oh my gosh, it's not letting me look at it. They're onto me. They're onto me, I tell you. Oh my god, the whole picture disappeared. But you can see the amount of, is that all red brick? That looks like red brick, doesn't it? So I'm trying to find out if these are actually made of red brick, because I think they might be. And if you can imagine, if this is all brick, imagine the amount of bricks and just the labor that would go into building that. But look at this. This is brick, red brick. Wow. All right. Yeah, cool. So I'm not sure if we can see that it's definitely built all into the water, but I'm not sure what happened to that tower. I have to do a bit more researching. So let's see where they're going now. A bit more of a map, and these are just cartography maps, so they're not that interesting. They got cool pictures on them. The only interesting thing I find is you often see towns, like those big sort of domed buildings and towers drawn in there. Here are some of the natives. This one, these are obviously, the natives that were living there. They're, running around, no clothes. These are different kind of people, but they don't look Spanish. Got these things on their feet that you see. Their clothes, and they've got like turban type things on. So they're looking fairly Moorish. Not really sure who they are. Here we have another leader, just a scene, obviously, he's getting walked along. Big building in the background. Not what we're told the natives were living in. This is like those things you used to see in like the 1900s when we went to Africa and they used to get carried around, looking silly. This again, they're hunting now. I don't know. This is a big fire, and they just, I don't know why the birds are in there for. And also these, drawing of a snake. And is that a rock or is it some kind? These guys have got them too. I don't know. They're burning effigies or something. And here we go again. I'm not sure if that's a grasshopper, whatever it is. It's big. Oh, is that a fire? That's a fire, maybe. It's a bit hard to see, but it looks like there's, see these big buildings in the background? And this is obviously some kind of ceremony. These guys have got their big jugs with lids on them. This guy's being pulled out of the water, so it's just like a street scene or a ceremony. And here we have one of the conquistadors. Now this guy, Francisco Pesari, I think that's the name we heard before, wasn't it? He was a pretty pretty evil dude, this one. He basically was just walking into villages and destroying them, and just stealing everything. Like these guys, when you read the diaries and that, they were walking, because they ended up, they didn't have many supplies when they hit South America. They pretty much had to get the food, to survive from South America. So, and they didn't know anything. So one of the treks, lasted 18 months through the jungle and that. But they basically used to just walk up. What they say is like, oh, we need food. And then it says, oh, we came across a town. So instead of going in and asking for food, they just go and kill everyone and steal everything. Like, seriously. That's what this, and you can see the destruction behind this guy. So, these guys were, I'm pretty sure these guys were being, led around by some entities that weren't necessarily nice. Francisco Pizarro. Another thing about about South America and the Amazon rainforest is they're actually doing, I'm reading Graham Hancock's latest book at the moment. I believe it's called America Before, and it's really pretty cool. It's very interesting. They're talking about, at the moment, they've been doing studies on the Amazon, the soil in the Amazon rainforest, and they've worked out that there's just not enough nutrient content or vegetable matter in there for it to have sprung up as a natural forest, and there's no sort of history of plants and that. There's no build up of a forest, so it's like they're trying to work out where it came from, the actual whole rainforest. And then they worked out that it seems to have been planted, because they did all species counting of the different plants, and they found that there's, as far for a forest that big, it's got something like 80% less variety than it should have. And so it's only got like 3,000 different varieties or something. I can't remember off the top of my head. But then it's got what are called, like alpha plants, I think they are, like, the main species that are more, that are more prevalent in the forest than the other plants. And all of those plants are like fruit and nut trees, and they've been planted out. So it looks like at some point the Amazon was planted out. Now, obviously, it's probably grown, and God knows what's under there, and if it's just gone berserk. But yeah, they did that. So it looks like it's been planted. And the other thing is, because of the soil, obviously they were like, how are they getting things to grow? And then they found this soil that is very fertile, and you find it in patches in South America. And basically what it is, that it's got carbon in it. I can't remember the name, what they call it, but basically what they do is they get things, and a lot of vegetable matter and wood and that, they cover it in dirt and they burn it, and it burns really slowly. And I'm not sure, there's some process, they don't know, no one's really sure how it works, but when it finally burns down and it's mixed into the ground, it gives you this really fertile soil. And they've got patches that they have evidence that they've been fertile for over 2,000 years. Over 2,000 years. So we have all the answers, guys. And I remember reading about this like 10 years ago. I'll have to revisit it. So we have all the answers, fertile soil, I mean, that's one of our biggest problems, right? So this is another clue that, we're being ruled by people who are trying to just, I don't know, destroy us. Maybe we're part of the civilization, that they're just still trying to destroy. Because we know how to make, they know how to make that soil. It's not being used though. So here is the Amazon. Now look at this. Is this an old bridge here? That looks like an arch. I don't know. Is that stone? How did that get built? Here we are at Expugnatio Peak. Don't know what that means. A little house up here on the cliff, and I have no idea what this is. See this big thing coming out? And again, obviously you can see it's all the boats coming in, and fire, they're just destroying everyone. And this one looks like it's got a huge wall right around the front of it and up the side there. They've got a tower there. Big, double-story, triple-story houses inside the walls and outside. It's another town. they found dead and took over. And here's another one. I mean, they're just all up and down the coast. This one looks like it's in a bit of worse, repair, but see in the background there's this big steeple. It also looks to be in the middle of the bush. So this may be abandoned. You can see they're sort of turning up and just doesn't look like they're ready for a fight. They're just kind of jumping on board. And that's Guaram. And here we are back in Cusco. So we've seen this picture before. This is a bit of a bigger one, different angle. Let's see the citadel up here, massive walled city. I'm not sure what these are up here. Towers maybe part of another wall that's half buried. It's in a big mound, I don't know. And I mean these walls too, look at the ground level here, it sort of goes right up. It doesn't look, is this been mud flooded? And just towers, steeples, like it's built out brick city, Moorish Tartarian architecture. I mean, it's there, and it would still be there today. Now this one I don't know about, because the windmill, they probably had time to construct windmills, but I don't know. You can see we've got the gears. This would have all been made out of wood. And it seems to be, the Spanish or the Caucasians working at. But then, are these windmills down here? This looks like this is a tower with a dome on it. That looks the same, but I don't know, are they windmills? Have they been turned into windmills? Are these just old dome, they're old dome towers? And they went, oh, let's turn it into a windmill. Down here we have big cathedral, more towers. This one again looks to be sort of half buried. And just, nice little town. Potosi. Another map. Quite boring. Brasilia. And these are obviously the natives of Brazil. This guy's got sticks, through his cheeks. He's got some interesting underwear on. This is his wife, obviously. She's got this nice sun hat. And look at this sort of, I don't know, what is it, like a scepter kind of thing? It looks very metal, doesn't it? It doesn't look like it's wood. It would be a very big bone, so it looks metal and it looks like it's got something in it. And these look like big metal spear points, big shafted spears. And this guy almost looks Caucasian-y, doesn't he? He doesn't really look like the picture we normally get of the natives. Here we are, some more. I mean, funny body. I guess they're trying to depict them as very healthy and muscly. You can see walking around. We see this basket type thing with a head being used in Asia a lot. Bit of a dance. And this, here we go. Yeah, right, so they're saying that there were definitely cannibals down there. This guy's got the stick sticking out of his cheeks and stuff again. And this guy's holding a leg. He's giving it to his chief and saying, hey, break a leg. And as you can see, they're literally roasting bits of human over the fire. And it just seems completely normal to them. This guy's sort of poking away. They're just hanging out. So, a bit of, cannibalism. And I've got theories about how cannibalism, came about too. I mean, if you think about it, after a mud flood and a reset and cataclysms and stuff, if there's no food, who knows what people would turn into, and then if that just may become their way of life. Don't know why these guys are all sitting down. This looks like just Spanish buildings. Storm at sea. This guy again with the hair and stuff. He looks more Caucasian, doesn't he? But he's naked like the natives. These guys too. I mean, this is obviously, I don't know if it's meant to be the dark or if it's shadows. I'm not sure. They're just wrestling because these look like human bones. And out here, we've got these guys coming up, and these look like the Indians that are getting shot. And you know, these guys look more like him and him, but this one looks like he might have been an Indian that they caught. So what's that? You know, now it looks like there's other people hunting people. You've got these bones. What was going on? And can we get the name of this? Sinus Omenji Sanctorium. Look at that. Just a huge Tartarian building just sitting out there, as you do, down on the beach. I mean, that's huge. Huge brick building. Not sure if these are towers or something in the background, but you can see that, and see this roof. Where's the rest of that building gone? Because you can see this is the water here, so that's literally half in the water. Looks like there might be something up there, but look at that, and this big, you know, that classic kind of fairy tale tower. And of course this guy looks like he's shooting cannonballs at it. Or was he? What are cannons and cannonballs anyway? I mean, if you think of the weight of cannons on boats that they would have had to carry across with them and all the balls, it's a lot of weight. And, you know, they're so inaccurate. And this, again, it's more tech. So I don't know if this is being built by the Spanish. You know, they've retrofitted stuff, or they just started building their own tech, you know, to grind flour or something, to make food. Again, this one, look, there's just a tower in the middle of the ocean here. Olinda de Pernambuco. Now look at this. This is just completely built out the whole way along. All the way. And it looks like it's completely walled as well. You can see the wall, so it juts out, it goes up, but then it looks like it just keeps continuing. It definitely looks like it's up around here. Look at these big buildings everywhere. Look at that spire. Look at that. Linen, I don't know what that says. And these look like, you know, A, B, C, D, E, F. So maybe in the book somewhere it talks about what all these different buildings are. Because look at this dome. Like where's the rest of the building? I mean, you can imagine a dome like that. The building, you know, should be down. You know, it should be quite tall. And yeah, just in the middle of the ocean, as you do. Turret just sitting out there. So this, you know, water levels have changed. Something happened. You know, we're not really sure. 14, 15, 1600 sort of time frame. And all the water levels changed. It looks like they've sunk a boat here and they're getting all their stuff ashore, and probably another town they founded. And a weird monkey with a man's face. Funny tail, ground sloth, porcupine. So this is America, and again, you know, just built out cities everywhere you see. And this is another star city. You can see the angles here. That's a star city. So what was it? You know, we find these in Africa, we find them in America, in Europe. I mean, ridiculous. And look, another bit in the water. Just in the water. Big stone structure. This is right on the edge, this big tower. Just stuff everywhere. Look at these big two towers. Another big, you know, and then just built out inside here. And it looks like the way that we see it in, you know, in Europe, like all the angles and stuff, how they have the houses. It's very reminiscent of Europe. I mean, look at the size of these buildings. If you can imagine, that's, you know, at least a house-sized building of these. big churchy thing down here. And definite star fort, look at that. All around here. So this is what they came across when they went to South America. This is what they stole, destroyed. Here it is again, that star fort. Different angle, I think. Ostium, not sure. If it's another one, then this is just star forts everywhere. But yeah, that's obviously another big star fort. These guys are coming aboard. They're slaves. And here it is again. And this looks like a battle is about to take place. Good drawing though, isn't it? It's really intricate stuff. You can see they're all coming. And in this one you can see, you know, these Indians, the inhabitants whose land this was, whose buildings these were, they're now slaves. So as we've gone through this book, they started off, you know, free. These guys come in, talk to them, they all looked healthy, lots of food and that, and then these guys just started destroying them. And now they're all slaves. Like, they're doing all the work. And these guys are just sitting up on their horses. So they're just standing around, and these guys are doing all the unloading of the boats. They're even rowing these guys who are standing in the boat to shore. So they've been completely taken over. These little bits here are exactly what you see, like exactly what you see on the star fort in Puerto Rico. Like, they're exactly the same. If you want to check that star fort out. So yeah, star forts, you know, these things are everywhere. And look at this. This is that, wouldn't that looks like it's an existing stone wall and they've just sort of retrofitted it. Put their crosses everywhere. Put this extra wall on. That's what it looks like. I'm not sure, they maybe wouldn't, but that's what it looks like. And down here in the foreground, we've got some old world buildings. One of them looks like it's been knocked over or burnt or something. I think these guys are fishing, no doubt getting food for these guys. So it'd be an interesting story to read this book, what they're actually saying. This is all obviously the same place. Portus Calvi. Here's a fort again, and again that looks like a star fort. Just see the angle, so I'd say that is brick. And that definitely looks like a brick building. 2 fairy tale towers. Up here we've got another 3-story building. And then much more simpler stuff in the foreground. You know, this is what you would expect them to be able to make. You know, the Spanish. And we've got all this stuff. And we're told that, you know, the Indians, natives, couldn't even, you know, make that. We're told they were just living in grass huts, but look what we find. It's just everywhere. Like I said, look, that's a 2-story building. It's like you know, yeah, they might be building little shacks, but they wouldn't have been building these stone buildings for a long time afterwards. And it's just everywhere, like cool wheels on these carts. I haven't seen that before. And again, it just seems like now they've just sent over more, and there's just more and more of them coming. You know, these guys are just the slaves. And they're just moving into their towns. And here we go, another star fort. Or maybe it's the same one, but you can see the big wall around there. Tower up here, and these turrety bits. So this is what this is what they found in South America. They didn't founded anything. They just found and stole. And here you go. Look at them. Look at the number of them now. At the start there weren't many. Now there's a lot of them, and they're marching up to take this town, I would say. And here we go. Here's the battle. Yep, they're up trying to get the town, and here's all the natives Looks like they've got heads on their pole and their spears, and that more natives here, and here's the battle. And they've got their knives and spears, and these guys have got guns, and they far outnumber them. And here up on the top of the hill again, it's just like a castle. That's what they want. And then you see these a lot, so I'm not sure if the natives were living in these, and they just didn't live in these. They were there. Because these are obviously not built by these people. By their ancestors, maybe hundreds of years ago, and something happened and they've sort of devolved. So this all seems to be pictures of their first major settlement they've sort of taken over. Mauritius. I'm guessing that's Mauritius. Look at that. And just all along here, look at these buildings. Mauritius. Vinipsi, Gwilym, don't know. But again, I mean, look at this. It's just, now they've put up their wooden fence, but look, that's like a 3-story building. And this looks like it's walled as well. Yeah, okay, so this is stone. They've just put this on the outside. They've put their little branding, wooden gates and that on the outside of this massive stone. Star City. And this is the thing, a lot of the natives, thought that the Spanish were the returning gods because they were white and they had beards. And maybe these structures were seen as, cities of the gods or places for the gods, and they weren't used. And then when the Spanish came in, and maybe they were just given access to them, and then they just turned around and took everything else as well. I mean, here we go, look at this, and again, right on the water. This stuff, it's just everywhere. Vista. A couple of natives going fisticuffs, having a bit of a fight. This guy's about to do an uppercut. Point Tamandir. Same kind of thing. Like now, they've looked at the boats. Like they've found some stuff. Send back some maps, and it's on. And again, in the background, big forts, big structures. I mean, this is they're in the Caribbean now, so these are all the islands of the Caribbean. They're just completely built out with forts and buildings and who knows what. And this again, I mean, it's just showing the skirmishes. I think we've seen this structure before. I'm not sure what all these hats are, but you can see these are all wearing hats. These look like the invaders, the Spanish, but they're all throwing their hats this way. These two look like they've jumped off, or this guy's pushed him off. I don't know, but the natives here are just, I don't know what's happening. Looks like they're having a fight with the priests. Looks like they've killed a couple. And I don't know, is this guy being burnt? It's a bit of a funny scene. And I'm not even sure what this structure is with all these poles underneath it. Don't know. Could be some kind of funeral pyre. Here we go, back to the cannibals. This guy's he's jumping down on someone's hand, got legs and heads lying around. And all these, they look like they're, the big fire, they're all cooking. These guys, it's just normal to them. I'm not sure what's happening here. And then out the back here, are these the Spanish? So yeah, this is it. We're in the Caribbean. So this doesn't look like there's much on the interior. There's no towns that I can see. Venezuela. What did they find in Venezuela? Chile. This lady looks like she might be wearing armour. I don't know. Things in her hair. Not sure. A lot of them hold these funny, I think they're like club things, but this looks like it's for getting water or something. Like a bucket on a stick. So they've tried to name an island Magellanica. Yeah. No, it looks like we've got dodos and ostriches here, maybe. But yeah, I don't know that Magellanica is still there. They're obviously after Magellan. You can see there's lots of towns around the outside. Around the outside, around the outside. Again, these guys, I know, do they look, I mean, he doesn't really, she kind of looks Caucasian, doesn't she? I don't know, got the baby there. Some people here, and they're just sitting back watching a massacre on the other side. We've got people in boats with guns. We've got a big fight here, fires, and they're just kind of hanging out. So there you go. Just wanted to finish that book off, run through the rest of the photos. If you haven't seen part 1, it is up. You'll find it on my channel. I'll leave a link in the description for you. And yeah, America in the 1600s. It's just a much different story than we've ever been told. And here is the visuals. And as you saw at the start, this is real accurate stuff. A lot of this stuff is still there. So that's what they found. They found a full built-out Tartarian Moorish style civilization, buildings everywhere, star forts, castles, towers. Looks like Antiquitech, but it also looks like the natives. It looks like a lot of them they weren't even inhabiting, so maybe they didn't even know about a lot of them. Some of them they were definitely living in the walled cities and things, and some weren't. So obviously a lot of diversity about the peoples and also with their tech levels. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that one, guys. And I've got some really, really cool books that I want to get into. Yeah, some South America stuff, some Europe stuff, and more of this sort of stuff is basically how they took over history, how they destroyed the previous civilization. There's some amazing books out there from the 1500s, and I'll get them into a video so you can check them out. All right, thanks for spending some time with me. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll catch you on the next upload. Bye for now.